A $20,000 car needs headlights to survive a country road in Ohio. So why can a $500 million cargo ship cross the ocean at midnight without giant beams blasting from the bow? It feels like a mistake, like the maritime world somehow missed the one idea every Toyota Camry figured out decades ago. But here's the thing, ships do not use light the way cars do. On land, light shows you the path. At sea, light tells other ships who you are, where you are, and whether you are about to become their problem. That is why those tiny red, green, and white dots in the darkness are not random. They are a code. Think about how we drive. A headlight sends light forward. It hits pavement, lane paint, a road sign, and some of that light bounces back to your eyes. That works because roads are built for that kind of seeing. The world ahead of you is close, narrow, and full of reflective surfaces. A car also has one very important advantage. It can stop. Even at highway speed, when you spot a hazard, the whole process begins right away. Brake lights, tires, friction, the car slows down. A ship does not get that luxury. A fully loaded cargo ship may need more than a mile to come to a complete stop, and turning is not exactly a quick little swerve either. The rudder has to bite into the water, the hull has to start swinging, and the ship's momentum keeps pushing forward. So, if a headlight finally shows you a danger clearly, there is a decent chance you are already seeing it too late. And making the light stronger does not solve the whole problem, because now the ocean gets a vote. Rain breaks the beam apart, mist throws light back toward your face, salt haze turns the air into a glowing fog, waves tilt and scatter the reflection in every direction. You have probably felt a version of this in a car. Turn on your high beams in thick fog, and suddenly the fog itself lights up. The light does not open a clean tunnel through the darkness. It just makes the thing blocking your view brighter. Now put that on a moving ship, rising and falling through spray. A huge forward light can glare, scatter, wash out faint signals, and make life miserable for other vessels nearby. So the problem is not missing headlights. It is that ships need a kind of awareness headlights cannot provide. They need to know what is happening far away, from more than one direction, before anything becomes urgent. Mariners solved that by flipping the whole idea around. Instead of trying to light up the ocean, they made ships readable in the dark. This is where ships stop acting like cars and start acting like messages. At night, a ship carries a visual ID system. Not decoration, not cruise ship mood lighting. Required navigation lights, under international rules called colregs, basically the traffic code of the sea. The first layer is simple enough. Red goes on the port side, the left side of the ship. Green goes on starboard, the right side. A white stern light shows from behind. On larger powered vessels, there are also white masthead lights along the center line of the ship. One sits forward, one sits farther aft. The aft one is higher. That little height difference is doing real work. If those two white masthead lights appear almost stacked above each other, and you can see both red and green side lights, the ship is more or less facing you. That is not a relaxing pattern. That is the seagoing version of, okay, pay attention now. If the two white lights are offset, you are seeing the vessel at an angle. A trained officer can use that pattern to understand the ship's orientation, not just its presence. The side lights are also controlled very precisely. Each one shines through an arc of 112.5 degrees. The stern light covers 135 degrees behind the vessel. Put those arcs together, and the darkness around a ship gets divided into readable zones. In other words, the lights are not just on or off. They are aimed so carefully that what you see depends on exactly where you are around the ship. So when another vessel appears at night, the bridge crew is not just seeing some lights over there, they are reading the shape of a moving situation. Red by itself means you are seeing the ship's port side. Green means starboard. A single white light behind it means you are looking at the stern. And if red and green both show up, you are looking toward the bow. That is the part most people miss. Ships at night are not mainly using light to illuminate the ocean. They are using light to explain themselves to each other. And that matters because two ships meeting at sea may not share a nationality, a language, or a radio conversation, but under coal regs, the light patterns mean the same thing. They help officers figure out whether they are overtaking, crossing, or meeting head-on, and what each vessel is supposed to do next. A giant forward beam can say, "Yep, there is water in front of us." Navigation lights say something much more useful. Here is how this moving ship relates to yours. And to read those small signals well, the crew needs the bridge to stay darker than most passengers would expect. Picture yourself on the bridge at night. Would you rather have it lit up like a hotel lobby, or kept dark enough that your eyes can catch tiny lights miles away? Most people instinctively choose the bright room. It feels safer. Professional mariners usually want the second option. Human night vision is slow to build and easy to wreck. It can take around 20 to 30 minutes for your eyes to fully adapt to darkness. Once they do, faint lights start to matter. A buoy, a shoreline marker, a vessel on the horizon. Then one bright white light in the wrong place can knock that sensitivity down fast. That is why bridge lighting is kept low during night watches. Instruments may use red light because red wavelengths interfere less with dark adaptation than white light. Doors, curtains, screens, and work lights are managed so glare does not spill into the watch officer's view. Even the windows on many ship bridges are shaped with this in mind. They are often angled forward and downward rather than standing straight up, which helps reduce reflections from the deck and interior lights. The crew does not want to look out at the ocean and see its own bridge glowing back at it. This is not just a modern habit. Even in the era of ocean liners like Titanic, crews understood that forward glare could be dangerous. Deck lights existed, but lights near navigation areas were shielded or controlled so they would not shine ahead and damage night vision. And then, of course, we have to talk about Titanic. After the disaster, officers were asked whether a searchlight might have helped. Some testimony suggested that on that unusually dark, calm night, a searchlight could have made the iceberg visible sooner. You can see why that sticks. There was little useful moonlight, the sea was unusually smooth, and without waves breaking around the iceberg's base, there were fewer visual clues. So yes, on that specific night, a searchlight may have helped. But Titanic is the painful exception that keeps this question alive, not proof that permanent headlights are the right default for every ship. A ship has to operate through thousands of ordinary nights too. Fog, rain, open water, harbor approaches, traffic, and all the moments when a faint distant light matters more than a bright beam nearby. The lesson is not light is bad, it is that uncontrolled light can cost you the very vision you were trying to improve. Ships do use powerful lights, just not as open ocean headlights. A searchlight is great when you know what you are looking for and it is close enough to illuminate. If someone falls overboard at night, a strong beam can be life-saving, especially if their life jacket has reflective tape. Lights also make sense in tight, controlled waterways. A good example is the Suez Canal. There, a ship is not crossing open ocean. It is moving through a narrow, fixed channel, more like guiding a giant building through an alley. Historically, ships expected to transit the Suez Canal could be fitted with special Suez lights near the bow to help with close-range navigation. That is where strong lights make sense. Canals, docks, rescue work, nearby obstacles, a clear target, a short distance, a specific job. On the open sea, the job is bigger than light. At that scale, ships need something closer to a second sense. That is where radar and AIS take over. Radar sends out electromagnetic pulses and listens for what comes back. It can detect objects far beyond what a headlight could reveal, in darkness and in many weather conditions. It does not need reflective lane paint. It does not need a moonlit horizon. It builds a picture from signals your eyes cannot see. AIS, the Automatic Identification System, adds the next layer. Think of it like ships broadcasting digital name tags. Who they are, where they are, how fast they are moving, and where they are heading. A headlight might show that something is out there. Radar can show where an object is. AIS can tell you what vessel it is and what it is doing. That is why the ocean was never really a problem for one giant beam to solve. Ships use navigation lights so humans can read each other. They protect night vision so those lights remain visible. They use radar for detection and AIS for identity and movement. Cars use light like a flashlight. Ships use light like a language. It is less obvious than headlights. It is also much better suited to the ocean. So the next time you see a ship at night, try reading it. Do you see red, green, or white? Is it crossing your view, moving away, or pointed more toward you than you would like? Drop your guess in the comments. And if you have ever been on a boat at night, tell me honestly, did the darkness feel peaceful, creepy, or like the ocean was hiding something personally from you?